The 43-year-old Limpopo police officer arrested for allegedly orchestrating the murders of 6 people to secure insurance claims payouts. The officer, Rachel Shokane Kutumela, is alleged to be the mastermind behind the crimes. Prosecutors say she planned the murders of 6 people and claimed at least 10 million rand from insurance.
The chilling story of Rachel Kutumela, the police sergeant who turned murderer for insurance payouts. Hello everyone, welcome back to Mysterious Matters. Thank you so much for blessing us with your awesome presence. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Rachel Kutumela, a Limpopo police sergeant, is accused of orchestrating the brutal murders of 6 people to fraudulently claim over 10 million rands in life and funeral insurance payouts. The case has shocked South Africa as investigators uncover the dark web of lies and crimes she allegedly committed to fund a lavish lifestyle. Rachel Kutumela is facing 6 charges of premeditated murder, 11 counts of fraud and 2 counts of defeating the ends of justice. According to reports, she targeted vulnerable individuals, destitute families, mentally ill individuals, and even people with disabilities, taking out insurance policies in their names without their knowledge. Once insured, the victims met tragic and mysterious deaths, allowing her to collect massive payouts as the sole beneficiary. Among her alleged victims is a woman who was burned alive in her shack and a man with a disability who drowned in a dam. Other deaths occurred in different locations, including Soweto, Sebokeng, Matlikereng, Leboakomo, and Seshego in Limpopo. The insurance payouts were reportedly made by major service providers such as ABSA, Standard Bank, Capitec, Hollard, Assupol, Old Mutual, One Life, and Clientele. The money was allegedly shared among Kutumela, her daughter, and her elder sister Anna. One of the most shocking details of this case is that one of her alleged victims was the father of her firstborn daughter. Instead of preserving his life, she allegedly saw him as an opportunity for financial gain, adding to the disturbing nature of her crimes. Adding to the horror, Rachel is accused of using the payout from one of her victims, Sydney, to fund her extravagant wedding just 2 months after his death. On the day of her wedding to David Kutumela, she reportedly went all out, even hiring a helicopter to make a grand entrance, an event that stunned her community. More shocking details have emerged about Rachel Shokane Kutumela, the Limpopo police sergeant accused of murdering 6 people to cash in on over R10 million in fraudulent insurance claims. One of her alleged victims, Sydney Moncha, was not just another target, he was someone she had a deep connection with. According to Sydney's cousin Mamoloko Mashabela, Rachel had infiltrated their family, gaining their trust before ultimately betraying them in the most chilling way. Mashabela, who recently spoke out, revealed that she was actually friends with Rachel before her arrest. "I still can't believe it, I am shocked. I saw Rachel as a loving person. She used to visit us, take us out, and even help with groceries. She was always there when we needed something. If there was a family gathering, you'd find her buying scones and helping wherever she could," she recalled. Their first encounter was in 2019 at Seshego Hospital when Rachel arrived in a police van. She called Sydney by name and introduced herself, claiming they had dated in the past. From there, she quickly became involved in the family's affairs. Mashabela remembers that Sydney, who was disabled, relied on a SASSA grant. At the end of the month, Rachel drove him in her Land Cruiser to withdraw his money, but he never got his SASSA card back. This Land Cruiser was just one of her 5 luxury vehicles, which included 2 Range Rovers, a BMW, and a Mercedes-Benz. Every Friday, Rachel would bring a 20-liter bucket of scones and take care of Sydney's household, making it seem like she was genuinely helping. Over time, she completely took over his life. She had his ID, his SASSA card, and even took his clothes to the laundry. Mashabela, thinking Sydney had found a loving partner, decided to step back.
Is painting us a picture of how they met the accused and how she introduced herself to her family, understanding that they are a family that doesn't have much. She came as a provider and as a caregiver to her brother, her late brother, who is living, or rather was living at that time, with a disability. And as a family, they had confidence in her that she will look after the brother, and she comes with genuine intentions, considering the fact that she's also a police officer.
Then things took a dark turn. Soon after Mashabela left, Rachel and Sydney were reportedly married and a huge celebration followed. But months later, Sydney vanished. A search party was launched, and what the family feared the most became a reality. His lifeless body was found next to a dam. It was only after his death that the family discovered Rachel had taken out insurance policies in his name. And in a shocking twist, she told them that her firstborn child was actually Sydney's. The family, struggling financially, had no idea how they would bury him. That's when Rachel stepped in again, this time claiming she had everything covered. She gave Sydney a dignified funeral, but now the family believes it was all part of her sinister plan to collect the insurance payout. Rachel Kutumela had successfully manipulated an entire family using their trust and financial struggles against them. But now, with her arrest, the full truth is finally coming to light.
He says he's a brother to the late Sydney, who is believed to be, the accused first victim. We understand that he was killed in 2019. It's alleged that his body was dumped in a river, and the family was notified when the body was at the mortuary. He's describing the nature of the relationship that the accused had with his late brother, essentially saying that, they trusted her. And the sad thing is that you can see how teary he is, because he's in a state of disbelief, not understanding what could have led to the family actually getting to this point. He also claims that there are other people that could possibly be involved in all of this. He says he's not convinced that Rachel is the only person that could potentially be behind the murder of his brother. But we do know that the police have mentioned that there is a high possibility of more people being arrested in relation to these insurance payouts. In fact, in relation to this particular case.
Rachel claimed she first learned she was under investigation for an insurance claim in February this year. Now facing multiple murder and fraud charges, Rachel is trying to defend herself, stating that her actions were not fraudulent. During her court appearance, she also revealed personal details about her life. She has 5 children from different fathers and got married in 2020. One of the most shocking revelations? She admitted that one of her alleged victims, Sydney Moncha, was actually the father of her firstborn daughter, who is now also accused in the case. Rachel explained that she first met Sydney when she was a teenager and they fell in love. She became pregnant with his child, but over the years they lost contact multiple times. When they finally reconnected, Sydney's health had declined. He could no longer walk or speak properly. She then admitted to taking out an accidental life insurance policy in his name, but insists it was not fraudulent. According to Rachel, she did this because he was the father of her child and she wanted to ensure their daughter would be taken care of if anything happened to them both. She claims Sydney was fully aware of the policy and agreed to it. Rachel also told the court that she spent her own money assisting with funeral costs for some of the deceased before the insurance policies eventually paid out. She added that she used some of the payouts to renovate her home. Rachel revealed details about how one of her alleged victims had taken out a funeral policy under her guidance. Rachel explained that she started insuring her family members after joining the police force. She said her decision was influenced by witnessing her mother's financial struggles when she was younger. She recalled how her mother had to take care of the family alone after her father passed away when she was still a child. According to Rachel, her father's death was even more painful because her mother struggled to afford the burial costs. This case just keeps getting darker. Rachel Kutumela isn't the only one facing serious charges. Her elder sister Anna has also been arrested and is now a co-accused in this shocking case.
A police sergeant, her sister and daughter were back in court today on charges of murder, fraud and money laundering. The officer, Rachel Shokane Kutumela, is alleged to be the mastermind behind the crimes. Prosecutors say she planned to murder the murders of 6 people and claimed at least 10 million rands from insurance.
Rachel Kutumela, her daughter Flora and Anna all appeared in the Magistrate's court where they abandoned their bail applications. Their case has been postponed to February 7th for further investigation. Rachel pleaded not guilty to all charges. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Sources allege that Anna also targeted her ex-lovers as they were insured by her. 2 of her former partners have reportedly been murdered. And just like Rachel, she allegedly made a few suspicious purchases after receiving money. In a heartbreaking interview with SABC, Jane Sikamela, the sister of Jacob Sikamela, opened up about the shocking circumstances surrounding his death. Jacob was found dead on September 14, 2022, his body dumped in a dustbin near a high school. At first glance, there were no visible signs of violence, but Jane recalled something strange, water streaming out of his nose, an eerie and unexplained detail. The night before his body was discovered, Jacob received a call. Witnesses later told his family that a man and a woman claiming to be police officers forcefully took him away. The person caring for him at the time allegedly tried to intervene, but they insisted on taking Jacob. The next morning, his lifeless body was found. Jane revealed that her family had never heard of Rachel until she showed up at their home after Jacob's death. Rachel arrived alongside Jacob's former girlfriend, a woman Jane knew well. According to Jane, Rachel and the ex-girlfriend claimed that while Jacob and his ex were still together, they had taken out a funeral plan. Now, after his sudden and tragic passing, they wanted to handle his burial. However, Jacob's family refused their request, stating that they had their own funeral policy in place. Jane expressed the deep pain her family still feels over Jacob's tragic end, emphasizing that his body was discarded like trash. "She shouldn't get bail, she's a dangerous person," Jane said, voicing her fears that more people could have fallen victim to Rachel's alleged schemes. Alleged insurance killer Rachel Shokane Kutumela testified in the Polokwane Magistrate's court, revealing details about how her brother-in-law, Navel, became one of her insured family members. According to Kutumela, Navel, who lived with her and her husband, took out a funeral policy under her guidance. She accompanied him to the bank to open a policy with FNB worth 63,000 rands, naming herself as the beneficiary. However, she claimed that this decision was made after discussing it with her husband, Navel's brother. "When we were at the bank after deciding that Navel should have a funeral policy like anyone else, I contacted my husband, and he said I should be listed as the beneficiary," she testified. Tragically, Navel later died in a car accident. Due to the accidental nature of his death, FNB paid out 126,000 rands. Kutumela stated that she only used 12,000 rands from this amount, as another policy from Northern Funeral covered most of the funeral expenses, including the tombstone. At the time of Navel's death, Kutumela had a 3-month-old baby and said her husband handled the funeral arrangements. "The deceased was staying with us, so my husband was in charge. I gave him the money," she explained.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, this woman is related to one of the deceased and accused number one. She is describing events leading to Ephraim's death, who is one of the victims, and also how the situation was between her and accused number one, which is Rachel in this case, saying that there was a bit of a conflict from the beginning, and she still is not convinced that Ephraim died the way she claims that he actually died. And she also says that Rachel was responsible for the funeral. She paid for everything, and until this day they haven't really spoken about what really happened to Ephraim. We know that tomorrow she is continuing with her statement, and we are also anticipating to hear from accused number 2 and number 3, who are believed to be her relatives.
Kutumela denied any wrongdoing, insisting that the policy was taken out as a standard funeral policy for extended family members. However, she also admitted to having taken out an additional policy with Asupo Life without Navel's knowledge, though her husband was aware and had agreed to it.
There was never even a way says, we have got a strong case against you, you killed this, you defrauded the bank. She gave it. And for your information, if somebody go to Asupo Holland and say, I want to insure, what is your name?
Zola.
I want to insure Zola. There's nothing wrong with that.
What's interesting here is the fact that, and this is what the state said, she would allegedly insure these people, and miraculously they are found dead, and she would claim from those deaths. Same applies with accused number 2, who is also her sister. The same, what we're picking up is the same pattern here.
Yeah, let me tell you, Mezola, the only problem we have is the allegation, and take in mind that this is a family issue, and we don't want to preempt anything. But up to now, the state should have put it and bring the papers to the accused number 1 so that the accused can respond. That's what the law says. And there's no papers which shows the fraud. There's no evidence which shows that now this person have murdered somebody, except the fact that now there are allegations based on accidental plan.
The case has been postponed to May 7, 2025. That's all for now. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so.